What is up, everyone? Welcome to Thursday hobby chat. I think it's Thursday. My name is Jim, your ever similar host and only host usually. So yeah, welcome to the chat, guys, and the hangout. Hey Jazz, how's it going, man? Speedy, what's going on? I had a weird week. I'm dealing with some legal stuff in relation to my previous job, which has not been fun. I hate lawyers; they're very expensive. But and I don't know if I'm just like I feel like I've reached a age, like I'm 37, which is not that young, but I feel like 37 plus whatever months that I am, I feel like I've just crossed the plateau of like hangoverness, because literally in December, I had some pretty like I feel like in just the last 2 weeks I've gotten bad at hangovers, and today I'm finally like I felt hungover from Saturday night, which is like a long time ago. And I woke up today and I like craved McDonald's. Like I had that like hangover like food craving of like greasy fast food, and of course I did order it because YOLO. I just wanted the breakfast. I don't usually order their normal food, but sometimes like an egg McMuffin, it just hits with an orange juice. Oh, it hits. So anyways, so that's what's been going on this week. It's been kind of hanging out. All right, so what are we working on today? So let's do our little here. Okay, so we got a few things today we're gonna be working on. First, I did work on this Eldar dude on stream last week or 2 days ago. We did the power sword. We're gonna kind of finish this and work on this. This is gonna be like our side project. I'm also working on some orcs right now. So I have two dreadnoughts, which are armless. The bodies themselves are, I'd say, like 80% done. But let me see if I can turn up the lighting actually a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, I know why it's dark, because I don't have my light. My painting light. Like a very bright painting light here. There we go. All right, we're also working on some dreads here. The bodies are done, mostly done. I gotta still do like some smaller details, and then but I have all the arms here, which are not done, which we're gonna start on today. So we're gonna kind of get those going. That's gonna be the first thing we're gonna do. And while they're drying, we're gonna work on the Eldar. And then once they're kind of dried, I think what I'll probably do is get most of the blocking in, and then assemble them, and then finish the models, and then we'll move on from there. But what I wanted to do is work on this Eldar guy to start. Or sorry, hey, did it? Yes, not British. I'm not gonna. Did it barehanded? What's going on, man? I don't understand. Yes, not British. Oh, are you happy that I'm not British? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, great. Well, you know what? I love the Brits, so hopefully I'm not too British-like for your tastes. But yeah, we're gonna be working on that today, and yeah, probably stream for about 2 hours. I got no aspirations right now. Also, gyms are open in Vancouver again finally, so we've been going through. I've gotten fat over the last month, so I think starting tomorrow, I can tell in my photos I'm getting like I can always tell when I'm like gaining weight, because it always goes to my face first, and I noticed I was getting like a double chin, so I think I need to lose about like 10 pounds. It usually goes away. But yeah, all right, so let's get going. So we're gonna start by just doing some very boring washes of these arms. So these have just been basically airbrushed right now with Vallejo gunmetal metal color. This stuff's actually really, really nice. It's like basically, I don't even thin this out from my airbrush. It goes straight into my airbrush, which is like unheard of for, and it is obviously an airbrush paint, but it's like it's an airbrush color obviously, but I've never really experienced that. And it's super smooth. So we're gonna be washing everything with sewer water by Secret Weapon, rest in peace. Now you have to understand, guys, that Secret Weapon doesn't exist anymore. So this is actually my last bottle of sewer water, and I have a full set of Secret Weapon washes but as they finish, it's like everyone I finish, I'm like slowly crying and sad inside because I'm never going to be getting those washes again. And the reason I'm using sewer water and not my favorite wash, Armor Wash, is exactly for that reason. It's because Armor Wash, their other wash, is like my favorite 100% wash ever made when it comes to like washing metal. But I only have like literally a third of a bottle left, and then that's it forever. So I decided to use a slightly alternative color, sewer water, which I still like. It's a little bit more green and kind of grungy, and it's gonna be good for these orcs. So yeah. And then the other thing, like, yeah, they have a lot of colors. Like, some of them are actually really funny names. Like, there's one called let's see here, what's this one called? There's some really gross sounding ones too. There's like one called Concrete, which is really cool. This one is where's the worst? Oh, this is the grossest one. It's called Baby Poop, and it's literally like disgusting. Like, look at it. Like, who wants? I don't even know like what the final color is. Baby Poop. It's got like weird particulate in it too, this one. But it's like a brown. It's a wash, but it's almost like it's a wash with like chunks of like goop in it. It's really gross. It's good. It's a good Nurgle wash. Anyways, they got a lot of really good colors. I'm really sad that they went out of business. They were actually really big, really good like supporters of like local events. Like this paint set that I have like all their washes. I won as a prize donation for a painting contest, and like whenever we did local events in our area, they would always donate codes to use on their website for like gift cards and stuff. So they were very like generous with like their support of the hobby community. So I was really sad to see them go. I'm hoping someone like picks up their range or their colors at least. So I'm just using guys these little 2-ounce portion cups. You can get like sleeves of these of like 100 for like $3 at the kitchen store, and they have lids as well. So if I'm not finishing a wash, I will throw the lid back on. Really handy to have. Also really good for like mixing oil paints. All right, let's see some questions here. So hey Namas, how's it going, man? It's going well. We're just painting some orcs, or washing some orcs right now. And I just gotta get some water in here. I'm just sorry, I'm being like really careful because I'm worried it's gonna put too much water, and I just want a few drops. There we go. And I will put into this just a little bit of where is it? So it's airbrush thinner. So you can see if you can see it kind of right now. Watch when I put a drop of this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but the surface tension will noticeably change. So I'll just do like one drop. I can hold it up. So see how like, I don't know if you can tell, but the surface tension very noticeably changes. So the airbrush thinner, just like 2 drops, what it does is it like reduces the surface tension. So you get a much less pooling on flat surfaces than you would if it was just straight wash. And then I'm gonna get a bigger brush for this because these are fairly large dudes. Let me see if I can find that. This I get on. So I can use this like large makeup brush. All right, we're just gonna start. All right, Andrew Tubridge asks, what are your top 3 Eldar units you hope they redo, barring the ones we already know? Well, I really hope well, okay, so I know a lot. Like I know like they're already redoing for instance, like I know they're redoing Shining Spears, so I won't say Shining Spears. I know they're redoing the Avatar, so I won't say that. Dark Reapers are getting redone. Guardians obviously getting redone. The Scouts getting redone. I hope we see the full range of Phoenix Lords. That's one of the things. Like I hope they don't just like do like 2 Phoenix Lords. Like they do like, because I think they did Jane Czar some time ago when the Howling Banshees got redone, and then they did it looks like Mogan Ra's getting a redone, right? But I do really hope that all the Phoenix Lords get like a full redo. I don't know if you guys have actually read, if you guys know much about Jane Czar, but she's actually really cool from a lore perspective. If you haven't read the, I want to say it's the Night Lords trilogy by Aaron Dembski Bowden. It's like a 3-book Chaos Space Marine trilogy. She's actually in it in a point, and it's really cool because obviously with the Phoenix Lords, they're immortal basically, right? Like they and again, Eldar lore is not amazing, but from what I understand, they basically live in the Infinity Circuit, and then when they kind of are summoned or want to fight, they basically, through the Spirit Stones, they take over the body of a like an Aspect Warrior or a Exarch, and then that Exarch basically transforms, including like their armor and weapons, into the Phoenix Lord. So like even if you kill the Phoenix Lord, they're basically reincarnated again in another Eldar body. So they're kind of immortal in that sense, which I think is really cool. But in this Night Lords trilogy, she's actually in it, Jane Czar, and I didn't really know much about her until I read this trilogy, and I think it's the third book. But there's basically they basically fight Jane Czar, the Night Lords, and they like fuck her up pretty bad. Like they blow off her leg, but then she like obviously comes back, and like she's like immortal, right? So she gets like screwed up by like all these Chaos Space Marine lords and stuff. Like it's not like just random dudes. Like she destroys a lot of them, but there's just like a lot of Chaos Space Marines, and then eventually they kind of get her. They like string a trap on her, and I think they like take her out, but then she basically comes back and like kills them all in the end. So it was pretty cool story. So okay, anyway, so Phoenix Lords, I'm hoping they redo. I hope let's see what else. The Wraith stuff is all pretty good. Wraith Lord got redone in plastics some time ago. Obviously, I think all the Aspect Warriors need to get plastics, and I'll be very disappointed if all of them don't. Like if they say leave Fire Dragons or something like that, I think that'll be lame. And then yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the Phoenix Lords. Like that's because I already know the other stuff, right? Like the Shining Spears, Avatar. Obviously, there's already plastic Farseer, already plastic Warlocks, that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, that's it works pretty well, this stuff. It's already, honestly, this secret weapon stuff, it's formulated pretty well. Like you don't even really need the thinner. I just added a little bit of water and a little bit of thinner just to stretch it, because it is quite strong if you use it like straight out of the bottle. But yeah, you can see kind of, it's got like a very grimy look. You can tell it's got a bit of a green tinge. The armor wash is similar, but it's more of a brown. This has almost like a green, gives everything like almost like a green kind of tinge. So yeah, those are the units. What about you, Andrew? Is there any specific units that you're really looking forward to seeing? I think the biggest thing though is I just want I don't know. Obviously I'm excited to like yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the new range. I've always wanted to paint Eldar, and I've never really had an opportunity to, because I've been painting Chaos for so long, right? And I did want to do Dark Eldar, but kind of everyone's jumping on the Dark Eldar train, so Eldar is going to be for me. Hey Unlimited, how's it going, man? And if any of my you know, it's really funny. So like I had I think I said this on the stream the other day, but I had like a few of my real life friends basically being like, yo, we sometimes tune in. Oh shit, this guy's in front of the camera. They're like, yo, we sometimes tune into your stream and watch, but they never say hi, like my real life friends. So if any of my real life friends are watching the stream right now, I know you're there, and please say hello. It'll make me feel less alone. So always a good thing. Anyone live in Europe? I want to go to Europe. I need some like advice, travel advice. Lurkers? Yeah, my friends are lurkers. That would be describe them in real life too. Lurkers. I would also, so this brush I'm using, guys, it's like I got a pack of like 15 makeup brushes for like $8. I would highly recommend getting these kinds of like shitty brushes and not buying like just for like washes and stuff. I think it's cool, man. Like I'm not a huge fan of the style, One of my problems with Chaos Space Marines, and one of the things that you'll notice is if you look at any of my Chaos Space Marine armies and stuff I paint, I very purposely try to remove the amount of embellishment and like ornateness, I guess. Baroqueness, is that the word? Baroque, ornate. So for me, I find that those models, it reminds me a lot of like the War Games exclusive stuff. It's just super busy. And like, it's just, as someone that has painted lots of Chaos Space Marines and lots of kind of Chaos models and Chaos Power Armor, the amount of like detail and ornateness, I feel like sometimes it overwhelms the model sometimes. And I really like the idea of having like more negative space and more clean, like you can have the visual style, but just not having so much like stuff everywhere. And like sometimes you see them and they're like covered in skulls from like head to toe. And I don't love that, you know. For me, I like a little bit more of a cleaner style. So for I think they're well sculpted. They're not for me. Like that's not something that I don't love. And but I wish him all the best. I know Dave, and he's a great guy, and obviously a fellow Canadian. So and I know how hard it is and how much work goes into like producing like a miniature game / line. So I've had a friend, Michael Tempe, that did the same thing. So I wish him all the best, and I hope it's successful. I don't really know much about it, to be honest. I've obviously been getting some pictures of it on my Instagram and like my social media. And I know some of the but I literally don't know anything about it. I don't know if it's just like a miniature line, or how do you see noise? Oh, okay. I understand what you guys were saying. I was like, wait, is there? I thought when you said it, Jazz the Hippie, when you're like a lot of visual noise, I wasn't sure if you're talking about like the stream, and I was like, uh-oh, what's going on with the stream? A lot of visual noise. And then Unlimited Gear was like, how do you see noise? And I'm like, oh crap, what am I missing? Is there something going on with the stream? I think you meant the models. I get it now. I'm dumb sometimes. Yeah, but the problem is with Rostick with that is I don't dry brush. Like I don't want to say that. I very rarely, I dry brush very selectively and only like specific I guess applications. I'm not someone that will dry brush a whole model, right? So yeah, if you're one of those like dry brush wash guys, hey, you know what, maybe it's not so bad for you. But for someone that like blends surfaces, painting all that, like, you know, and this is the other problem too. Not only are the models busy, and again, this is more of a general point, this isn't specifically to Dave's models, which I haven't really taken a super close look at. Hey Dave, if you want to send me some to paint on stream, I will. Hashtag sponsorship, hashtag shameless plug. I will definitely do that. But the biggest thing with the models is even they're not only are they busy, but sometimes the detail is not super crisp. Oh, come on, Andrew, the book's been out. Don't you dare try to do that. Let me see when the book came out. Voidstalker, which I believe was the last book in this series, came out in, oh no, that can't be right. No, Blood Reaver was the last one. Hey Siri, when did the book Blood Reaver come out?
Okay, I found this on the web for when did the Blood River come out.
Oh, come on.
Check it out.
Damn it, Siri. The book came out a long time ago, so don't you dare try to claim spoilers here. Let's see here. 2011, man, get out of here. That's like a decade ago. There's a statute of limitations on this stuff. You can't get mad at me. Any book that's basically in paperback, there's you can't get mad at me for spoiling. That's the rule on this channel. And any movie that's out in like VOD, you can't get mad at. I'll spoil as well. Also, I didn't tell you what happens in the whole book. I just told you there's a character in it, right? So get out of here with your spoilers. spoiler mongering. Yeah, I need to finish my audiobooks. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't read the books anymore. I have like the first 30, I think, Horse Heresy books, novelizations, and I have like the Eisenhorn trilogy and like a bunch of old Warhammer Fantasy novels, like physical copies. But basically for the last like 8 years, I've been like an Audible / audiobook like dude. So it's much cheaper than buying the books. And the audiobooks are excellent, especially the 40K ones, narrated by Jonathan Keeble, who's like an excellent narrator. So I just really enjoy that. Plus I can paint while I do it. I don't know, there's something about like sitting and physically reading a physical book that feels inefficient to me, like especially because usually I paint when I listen. So I'm like, well, I could be sitting here listening to this book or reading this book, or I could be like sitting here listening to the book and painting at the same time, or doing something else that's productive, right? So it's just hard for me to like justify sitting for 2-3 hours and doing nothing but reading. It feels like a bad use of time, which sounds crazy because it's like reading should not be a bad waste of time. No, I have not read Brutal Cunning. Should I be reading Brutal Cunning? I'm just going in and gunking up the exhausts here. A little bit of my leftover. Gosh. I don't really like orc books, to be honest. I think the whole orc culture and orcs in general, I've never been really attracted. The whole like old, like kind of the way that they're kind of portrayed as like, it's almost like comedy. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I don't like ugly races. Yeah. Oh, dude, the books are really good because, and again, I won't spoil too much now that I know that you're here. They give you a really good insight into like obviously the Night Lords specifically, but also just like in general Chaos Space Marine like culture. There's like a lot of cool cameos in there, which again I won't spoil, of characters that like you'll recognize, but like it gives you a really good insight into kind of like the kind of disparate and like scattered nature of like the Chaos Space Marine war bands, not just the Night Lords, but like all of them throughout the galaxy in like the current era, because I think it's probably set sometime slightly before the Black Crusade. The 13th Black Crusade is probably like where it's set as far as timeline is concerned. It's like around that time, but it's not, obviously it's pre Black Crusade. Rostic, I wasn't saying that I can't finish it. I just haven't finished it. I've been stuck on Warhawk, which is like the latest in Siege of Terra, for a little while, and I just like usually when I sit down to paint these days, I've been like watching lots of YouTube or like videos, or I'm streaming, where obviously I can't play audiobooks because I would get into big trouble from the copyright dudes. Yeah, it's not that I can't finish it, and I do need to and want to finish it. It's just I feel like I haven't for bad reasons. But I also have like the 2 books in the Armin trilogy to finish. I have a bunch of 40K books that, let me see on Audible. I got 2 Audible books. So I got Warhawk, which I have. It says I'm 14 hours 6 minutes. Yeah, so I'm about halfway through Warhawk. I have Godblight, which is like the Dark Imperium, the 3rd book, I think. Armin, 2 books in the Armin series that I gotta finish. What else do I got? The reason I also got sidetracked because I started reading Dune. I started listening to Dune after I watched the movie, but I didn't really finish them. I have the entire Witcher series on audiobook, like Blood of Elves and like Sword of Destiny and stuff that I gotta finish. Oh, dude, the worst 40K book I've ever read is in the Horse Heresy. I think it's called Damnation of Pythos. it's like it's a completely weird book because it's supposed to be like it's like one of the mid Horus Heresy books. It's like book 20 or something, and it has really nothing to do with the rest of the Horus Heresy. It's basically about some of the Shattered Legions. So like Iron Hands. So the Shattered Legions were the legions that were massacred on Isfahan 3. Is Isfahan 3 or 4? Isfahan, whatever. Isfahan drop site massacre. So it's like blood. It's like the Raven Guard, the Iron Hands, and the Salamanders. I think those are the 3 legions mostly that were destroyed during the drop site massacre. And so it's about like this like ragtag group of them that find themselves on this planet called Pythos. And so like that's the only connection it really has is to like the larger heresy, which is like where the Marines came from. But once they're on the planet, it's basically just like Marines versus it's like they wanted to write a book that was like Space Marines versus dinosaurs. And so the book is just Marines literally fighting. I think they fight Exodites, which are Eldar, the Eldar dudes that ride the dinosaurs. I don't even know if there's actually Eldar in it. I think it's been so long since I read the book because they came out in like early 2000s or late 2000s. But basically they fight dinosaurs for like the entire book, and then like that's it. Like that's all that happens in the book. It was really bad. Armin dies in the ends? What? Armin doesn't die. Does he? Alright. Let's do some elves. So what I want to do is... I guess I could finish the sword. I don't really want to do the sword. Not really, to be honest. I mean, I have to see them in the... I honestly, without seeing the larger changes to the mission design, there's rumors, obviously, that detachments are going to change and sub-faction rules are going to change. Obviously, I think... I mean, look, my problem with the points changes is they're probably out of date. Like, that's my biggest comment, is they're probably already out of date. And the whole model that Games Workshop uses to release points is just like awful, and I hate it. And I don't know, like seeing the like points come out for what book was it that just got released and like the points are already out of date, like ORKS and stuff. Didn't ORKS just come out and like the points are already out of date? Like they need to go into digital rules, and I won't rehash that here, guys, because I've talked about the need for them to go to digital rules like 1,000 times, and like I feel like I repeat myself a lot. But yeah, Battle of the Abyss. I think I didn't mind that one. I didn't love it though. I know that's actually one of the few that I hear is like not good. Still my top book ever is still probably the Eisenhorn trilogy. I've loved though, and I've really been enjoying the newest trilogy in the trilogy of trilogies. So the Eisenhorn, I guess it's the Eisenhorn Ravener Beckwin trilogy, and then there's the Eisenhorn trilogy, the Ravener trilogy, the Beckwin trilogy. So Penitent and Pariah, which are the last 2 books in the 9-book whatever that's called. Those have been really good, and I've really enjoyed those. And I can't wait for Pandemonium, which is the 3rd book that's not out yet, to kind of wrap up that whole thing. The Fabius Bile books, I own all 3. I'm staring them at my Audible right now. I haven't started a single one. But I definitely want to read those. Listen to those, I guess. I also have a few Star Wars books in here that I got. So the thing with the Audible is I have a subscription, so I get a credit every month. And then there's a point where I had like 8 credits like saved up because usually the only thing I would get was like Warhammer books, and so I just started buying like random books. So I have like a bunch of like random books that aren't out yet, or like I haven't read. But yeah, the Fabius Bile books sound like good. I really got an interest in them, especially after what was he in? And I was, oh, you know why? when I read the reason I wanted to read the Fabius Bile books, there's a the Primarch series in the Horus Heresy. I finished the one about the Phoenician. So it's called, I think it's called the Phoenician. Here. What's it called? No, it's called Fulgrim, the Palatine Phoenix. So it's by Josh Reynolds. And it's basically, so there's a Primarch book for each of the Primarchs. And it's basically like a story, I guess, about the Primarchs pre-Horus Heresy. So during either the Great Crusade or before the Great Crusade, or just basically like a important part of their lives before the heresy. And when I read the Fulgrim one, well, guess who's in it? Fabius Bile, because he's obviously part of the Emperor's Children. And you kind of see him, his he's still not as crazy and creepy as he is obviously currently, but like you see his kind of, you know, he's where he starts, and then kind of by the end of the book, he's like, oh, this you can see kind of the progression into oh wow, that's both morbid and exciting. Unlimited Nar, congratulations, and sorry about your grandma, I guess. But yeah, so Josh Reynolds. So after reading that, I was like, oh, Fabius is actually kind of a cool character in this book. Maybe I should read the books about him, and so that's why I kind of purchased them. But my favorite one of the Primarch series so far has been Alfarius, Head of the Hydra by Mike Brooks. It's like really good, not just because of Alfarius' story, but because of, and I'll try not to spoil too much, because of when it's set, so the time it's set, but also because it's one of those books that like reveals a lot about pre-heresy emperor and like Thunder Warriors and like the legions on Terra and like the early Earth before like the heresy and before like the Great Crusade. Like you learn a lot about like what was going on in Terra and like what the Emperor's up to, and like what like what's his name was up to, the Sigilite, why can't I remember his name? The Sigilite, I know his like last name, what the hell's his first name? What the hell's the Sigilite's first name? I can't remember for some reason. I can remember that he's a Sigilite, but I can't remember his first name for some reason. It's like Bob. It's not Bob the Sigilite. Malcador, yeah, Malcador. Sorry, Malcador. So you learn a lot about Malcador, Sigilite, and like Trahan. I think Trahan will Trahan? No, I'm not Trahan. What's his name? Who was the old Grandmaster of the Custodes? The main guy. Back during the Horus Heresy, who's like, it wasn't Trahan. Trahan's a current guy. Constantine Valdor. Sorry, Constantine Valdor. So you learn a lot about Constantine Valdor too, and this is all in the Alfarius book, and also like it's Alpha Legion, right? Because it's Alfarius. So the other cool thing about it is like as you read it, you're like reading it through the lens of like I think actually Alfarius is telling the story, so he's like narrating it, and so like but as you're reading it, you're like, wait, is this real, or is this like Alfarius telling propaganda and like being Alpha Legion? And by the end of the book, you're like, what the fuck? Like, what parts of this book were real and happened, and what didn't happen? And like, it totally changes like how you view both like the Emperor and like Malcador and like Constantine and the Alpha Legion and like the Imperium. But then at the same time, you're like, does it change that? Because maybe this is all bullshit. So you kind of finish the book, and it's like a giant mindfuck, and you're like, wow. So I really enjoyed that book. I would highly recommend it. I just obviously bought the audiobook. It's narrated by Jonathan Keeble, who again does all the Horus Heresy ones. He's an excellent narrator. But yeah, it's just a really good book for like those reasons. That it's like so. Yeah, but that's true. But it's like extra unreliable because it's Alfarius, right? And like it's actually it almost like breaks the third wall in that sense, because like there's like points in it where like they want the reader to know that this is unreliable, like really unreliable. Like, did this actually happen, or like it's kind of one of those things where it's like at the end, or was it just a dream? Like, it was like, it's almost like that level of like, and then you start to go think, and you think about all these things that happened in the book, and you're like, oh wow, like, was that actually, did that happen the way that was explained? Or like, they tell versions of events that we know about, right, in but different perspectives, and you start to kind of you change your perspective on certain events. Yeah, you start to change your perspective on certain events the way that they're told. You're like, oh, this thing happened. And again, I'm trying to be very vague because I don't want to spoil anything, but like it'll be like imagine, okay, I'll just use like a very common example. Imagine in the book, and this is not in the book, guys, so don't get mad at me, but like, imagine in the book there's a part where it explains to you that like the drop site massacre at Isfahan was actually committed by the loyalists, and it goes through all the facts about like how the loyalists actually did the drop site massacre. Well, you're like, oh wow, like, I didn't know that, and that's contrary to what I know already, and like, it's very plausible, and this makes sense, and blah 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 blah. And then by the end of the book, you're like, wait, who did the drop site massacre? Was it was Horus the bad guy, or was he the good guy? Like, it leaves you at that level of like mindfuckery. And so it's good in that sense. I haven't read any of the other Primarch books, but after reading Fulgrim and the Night Lords one, I definitely want to read them all now. It's just about time, right? So just finding the time to do it, because I don't have the time. But yeah, it's a really interesting book. But yeah, Eisenhorn, my favorite books, probably. And it's so weird too, like reading Eisenhorn, because I went back and I purchased the audiobooks from Audible, so I could re-listen to them. Because when I first read Eisenhorn, I purchased like the hardcovers when they were released, like in, I don't know, 2002, 2001, like forever ago. And I hadn't read them since, so I went back and I purchased the Audible books with my credits. And like the first thing that hits you when you're like rereading it, you're like, oh wow, this whole series is first person, which is like a very interesting writing style. And it's so different to read a first person book compared to like what I've been used to. So that immediately was like cool, was that the fact that it's like first person. But it's something you like don't really think about. And it's like a cool aspect of it, I guess. It's nice because it's a little bit different than like what you're used to when it comes to audiobooks, I guess. Yeah, and like that's part of the reason why I really like Speezy. That's part of the reason I really like if you guys have read the Talon of Horus and Black Legion, which are the books in the Black Legion series, but it's basically, and this will be a minor spoiler, but it's like it's something you learn at the very like the first paragraph of the book. You learn this, so it's not like a deep story, but basically the book is narrated by Iskander Khayan, who's like Abaddon, one of Abaddon's sorcerers in the Black Legion. And he's been captured by the Inquisition. And you learn this in like the first like paragraph of the book, and of the first book. And so the whole story that you read is his narration to the Inquisition, right? And so knowing that, you're like, okay, well, obviously, it's like, yeah. So he's a Thousand Sun Psyker that defected to the Black Legion, and he's like one of Abaddon's like top lieutenants in the Black Legion. And he's a psyker, and he's a super interesting character, and he does a lot in the books, but he's been captured by the Inquisition, and kind of like he's like in the black cells in Terra, right? Which is like, for those of you who don't know, the black cells are like the deepest, darkest. He's either in Terra or he's on Titan with the Grey Knights. I can't remember where he is, but he's in like the black cells, which are basically prisons made of Blackstone Fortress, where like psychers can't escape, and it's basically like the worst, where they keep alpha psychers and like the worst criminals of humanity, deep in the fortress of like Terra and stuff. And he's basically giving his confession to an inquisitor. And so the whole two books, as you read them, is his story that he's telling. And at the very first start of the book, you learn that like literally I think the very first chapter, because they set that up, and then he kind of tells the story. He's like, let me tell you the story of Abaddon the Despoiler, and then he kind of goes into it, right? But because of that, a part of it also, that the thread that kind of runs through the whole series is that like he is an unreliable narrator, because the story you're hearing is not necessarily the story that is the story that he's telling the Inquisition. And even in the book, the Inquisition is like, that's not true, like that's a lie, like we don't believe you. And he's like, no, that's the truth, like I'm telling you the truth. And so throughout the whole series, you're always questioning, you're like, is he telling the truth or is he not telling the truth? What is this story that I'm hearing? Is this just the story that he wants the Inquisition to hear, or is he telling the Inquisition a version of events? You know what I'm saying? So it's really interesting in that sense. Anyways, that's probably my Aaron Despi Bowden is probably one of like my favorite 40k authors. So I'd also highly recommend that book if you want to check out another book as well. But yeah, it's really interesting, the Black Legion books. And I think there's actually like more than one more book coming out. Originally I thought it was gonna be a trilogy, but I saw on Aaron Debsigi Bowden's Twitter that I think there's gonna be like, he's working on a few books. And Iskander Khan, is that how you say it? He's a really cool character too, because he's like, you kind of learn his story too, but like how he became to be in the employ from the Thousand Sons, how this Thousand Sun sorcerer came to be in the Black Legion and one of Abaddon's like top lieutenants. You learn that story, like that's part of the tale, right? So it's kind of like cool. You learn a lot about like the Abaddon, kind of what he did right after the Sundering, which is basically right after the heresy and when all the legions were escaping to the Eye of Terror. You kind of learn like how the Black Legion got started from the Sons of Horus, like how that's where you learn about things like where he got some of his kit, like the Talon after Horus died, that kind of stuff. So there's lots of cool tidbits there of lore that's not really like fleshed out, and it's a really interesting book. It turned out good. Arthur, here's what it looks like. So I did two swords. This is this is that one, and this is the kind of second version. So I think we decided we're going to go with this more kind of inside out lava look than the kind of traditional power sword look. That answers your question. But anyways, I really enjoyed those books. All right, let's see here. So I think I'd mentioned this in the other stream, guys. Like, you'll notice that this is quite thin. This oh, that's okay, because we're gonna do a little wash over it, and then by the time we go back to highlight it again, the fact that it's like a really thin layer is not gonna bother us at all. And it's actually good that it's thin, because yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm excited for there's no other real 40k books I'm looking forward to. I'm really excited for like whatever the next, like I want the Siege of Terra and the kind of the Horus Heresy to kind of wrap up soon. It's been a long time I've been reading it, so I'm excited for the series to kind of finish. And I'm really curious like where they're gonna go next. Like, are they gonna do the Sundering? Are they gonna do no, James, we were just talking about that. I have it on my Audible, but I haven't started it yet. I'm really far behind on my audiobooks right now / books. All right, there we go. Do you recommend it? Have you read it? Yeah, Speezy, I don't know if you were here. I was just talking about that, but I don't know if you like had stepped away, but I was just talking about how I'm really excited for the third book in the Beckwin trilogy. It's gonna be called Pandemonium. One thing I didn't realize, or I guess I did realize, but like it kind of hit me again. But and I actually tweeted at Dan Abnett for this after I finished. Yeah, I was just saying how like Eisenhorn is one of my favorite trilogies, and then I'd recently re-downloaded the audiobooks, and because I own the original paperbacks, I think from like 2004 probably I bought them and read them. But one of the things I was saying is like it's always interesting to read it again because it's first person, which is something that's like very unique. First person perspective, all three of the trilogies in the trilogy. But the other thing I and I didn't mention this before, but people forget sorry, Penitent, which is the newest book, came out last year, I believe. But Pariah, which was the first book in the Beckwin trilogy, I think it came out in like 2011. So people were literally waiting a decade for the second book in the Eisenhorn or in the Beckwin trilogy. And I was like, and I'd forgotten that because I think I'd read it, but like I can't even remember if I'd read it way back when. But I don't think I had. So I re-listened to, I got both Penitent and Pariah. But yeah, the original let me see here. The original release for Pariah here. So it was originally published, I believe, in 2011, and then they obviously reprinted it when Penitent was coming out. And I was like, yo, Dan Abnett, I tweeted Dan Abnett, I was like, yo, Dan Abnett, I just finished Penitent, and obviously if you guys have read Penitent, it ends with like one of the most massive like 40k cliffhangers / reveals that you've ever had. Like the ending between Pariah and Penitent, there's a big cliffhanger, and this is the standard Dan Abnett shit, right? So at the very end of Pariah, is basically, I don't want to spoil it, but something really crazy happens at the end of Pariah where you're like, holy shit, and then it's cliffhanger, and people had to wait 10 years for Penitent to come out. Yeah, that's a thing too, Speezy. Like I think I knew there was like one or another book, but I kind of faded out of like my awareness, and then when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, like I know who Elizabeth Beckwin is. I know that. I didn't realize this was like a third trilogy. I think what I maybe thought initially was like Penitent was like a short story about her or a side story. I didn't realize it was like the start of a whole new trilogy, like a whole new novel. I think I'd heard about it before, but I just didn't realize it was like a main trilogy book. So I listened to it, and it was like, oh my god, it ends so crazy. Pariah does, and thankfully I had Penitent ready to go. So like I literally, as soon as I finished Pariah, I was into Penitent. But there's a cliffhanger at the end of Pariah. And I was like, holy shit, if people had to wait 10 years to resolve this cliffhanger, that's got to really suck. And so when I finished Penitent, which is book 2, I tweeted Dan Abnett. I was like, yo, Dan Abnett, I swear to God, if you make me wait 10 more years for Pandemonium to come out, which is the name of the third book, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, like we'll be in like 12th edition 40K, and the spoiler won't even matter that much because it's actually like it's actually relevant to the current like 40K storyline. One of the sad things though, and this is the biggest like sad face about the whole Eisenhorn trilogy, is that if you actually look at the Imperial timeline, like the current timeline of 40K, I think the trilogy, the whole Eisenhorn series of events takes place about 400 years before current era of the 40K. So there's no chance that like Eisenhorn's gonna roll up all radicalized and like, you know, chat with Gilliman or like chat with like in any other current era, which is kind of sad. Yeah, and so like this my great sadness about the trilogy is the fact that it's set, like, you know, when it's set, and you know like all the characters are probably dead by now by current era 40K, so there's almost no chance that they're gonna show up, you know. That's like my one true sadness. But yeah, it is what it is. What the hell? When was this? Oh shit. Are you kidding? What the hell? I just got a bill. 4 bills. Let me just see here. For like $700 for a car getting towed that I towed. Are you kidding? I just got like $800 of parking tickets in my email or something along those lines. I'll figure it out later. From December. I don't remember that. Is that true? If they charge my account. Oh, brutal. I just got charged almost $700 in parking fees on my card. Wow. That's savage. You're wondering what it is? We have no, it's not a scam. It's definitely not a scam. So we have in Vancouver, and I don't know if you guys have this in where you live, but we have a car share service called Evo. It's basically like Uber, but instead of like you getting a driver, the cars are just parked all around town. It's almost like those Lime scooters. I don't know if you guys, where you guys live, you have those like Lime scooters, but it's with cars, right? So it's like a car share. So you look on the app, you see where the closest car is, and then you can basically book the car right there off the app. You drive it where you want. You drop it off in certain areas. You go, and it's usually cheaper than a cab. But I guess sometime in December, I got a car towed unknowingly, and so I got charged twice for 2 different towings, which I didn't realize, at $273, and then another ticket for $143, and another ticket for $84. So pretty brutal little way to, especially something that's not working right now. Not very stoked about that, but that's okay. I actually have a tendency to spend my money on really stupid shit. I learned a really hard lesson actually and it's actually caused like a giant schism between some people that I was I guess I thought I was friends with, but I was acquaintances with. But basically what happened was a group of us, like 8 of us, went to Whistler, BC, which is like a ski resort north. It's like an hour north of Vancouver. And we rented, we had a place. And this was like literally right before restrictions came back in. So the bars were like still open. So we go to this bar. And it's like me and like 3 of these girls that I'm friends with, plus like 2 other couples that we're with, and like I think it was like one other dude. And the girls are like, "Oh, let's get a table, right?" Yeah, tell me about it. So the girls are like, let's get a table. We'll like, and I'm like drunk at this point. I've been drinking for 4 hours. We're at the club already. And I say club very loosely, guys. We're talking Whistler, so it's more like just like a bar with like a bar club. I don't know. You got to, if you understand Whistler, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so they're like, let's get a table. So I'm like, okay, fine. I was like, I'll put on my credit card. So I get so I got a table, put my card down, and there's a $1,000 minimum spend at the table. So I'm like, okay, there's like 8 of us. There's like 9 of us, right? You know, if we spend, let's say, just like, you know, spending $100 at drinks is not that hard. We'll get a few bottles of like Grey Goose, whatever. Everyone will pitch, and it won't be bad. Okay. So then, obviously, you guys can see where the story is going. We get a bottle of Grey Goose. We get like 24 Coronas. We're drinking. We're having a good time, and then like, but like half the people don't want anything to do with the table. Like they're like revolted by the fact that we even got a bottle service table. Like they're too cool and they're too poor. Like they don't want. They want to order like 2 beers and kind of be the fuck out of there. And I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Drink what you want from the table, and then at the end, whatever you guys think is fair, proportional to what you drank at the table, just like throw in a few bucks. Like if you had 2 beers, throw me like $15, right? If you had, you know, like 6 vodka doubles, throw in whatever you think that's cost. Like I was like, at this point, I don't care. I've already bought the table. There's no going back. So we're there, and all of a sudden I see some of my friends inviting girls, random girls like fucking hussies, back to the table, right? So now we have, at this point, like, there's like 15 of us at this table, right? 6 or 7 of them that I random like slutty girls that I don't know. And like I should say slutty, but opportunistic is probably a better word, because this is like the MO in Whistler, which is like girls, specifically girls, and I say it's mostly girls, will basically like kind of like vultures, will look for dudes that have tables and try to get into the tables for the free drinks, but then like have no interest in like talking to them, just basically there to like mooch, right? It's a very common thing. It happens in any actual club you go to, right? They want the free drinks, the guys want, you know, social attraction, so it happens. I didn't want anything to do with these people, but I didn't really care. I was like, my friends are having fun, it's fine. But these girls arrive, like these random girls, super drunk. Some of them like should not have been served, like they could barely stand, and like to the point where like they should have been kicked out of the place. And there's like one dancing on the bar. There's like one's like spilling drinks everywhere, just like super sloppy, like just like awful, right? This is getting a long story, but I got nothing better to do, so I'll tell you the whole story. So this goes on for like, you know, a good hour or so, and or 2, and like people are coming in and they're drinking the drinks. We ordered another Grey Goose. Thankfully, like we hit the $1,000 limit, but of course, what we didn't realize is there's auto gratuity, so 20% auto grat. So finally, the end of the night comes. I get the bill. It's $1,200, right? So it's $1,200 on my credit card for this table. And again, we were all drunk, so I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it tonight. I'll shoot a message to our group. Everyone will for sure, knowing that I paid for this entire table for all these people to fucking mooch off. Everyone will for sure do the right thing and like throw in $50 or $60 or $20 or whatever they thought was fair. Can anyone guess out of the like 9 people in our group chat that were like? Can anyone guess out of the 9 people that were in our group chat? A, how many people of those 9 contributed $1? And B, how much the total contribution was combined from all the people that contributed? I bet you guys will be like, why are you friends with these? Yeah, Species is pretty close. One girl, my best friend out of the whole group, Mika, she gave me $100. I didn't see a single dollar from anyone else. So I ended up paying $1,100 for this fucking table at this club by myself. And like, that's why when I got these parking tickets, I was like, whatever. Like, I just, like, not that I'm a rich person, but like, I do dumb shit and I pay for it. And I just like, I don't let it bother me because it's just money. And like, I have enough money that like, I've spent my money on so much dumb shit in my life where like getting a parking ticket, I just move on from it. Like I don't let it bother me. I don't let it like like bring me down. Like, it sucks, obviously. I'd rather have my 800 bucks. But now I'm just like, okay, where can I make it up in other places? Now I got to make up 800 bucks. So for instance, like, I won't go out a weekend because that'll probably save me 800 bucks. Anyways, yeah, my friends are not great, as you can tell. Yeah, I have a story to tell. And here's the thing. That whole incident, this was right before Christmas. So here's the thing, Jazz. I'm an adult. I have agency. I could have said no, but I wanted everyone to have a good time, and I said yes. And ultimately, and I was the one that put my credit card out. So I take ownership of that, and like, I'm not sitting here being the victim. I just think, and like, ultimately, it was my like, I guess it was my it was a risk that I knew I was taking. But in the end, yeah, the point is, in the end, I'm not that kind of friend. Like, if one of my friends if the roles were reversed and like one of them had pulled their credit cards out first, I would have fucking made sure that they were made whole. I'm not a pushover, man. You gotta understand. Trust me, I'm not a pushover. Anyways, I stopped. No, but here's the thing. Nar, it's one thing if I make an agreement with you and I say, hey, we're gonna agree that we're gonna split this and you don't pay. That's one thing. You agreed to that. In the heat of the moment at the club, when like two of the girls are like, let's get a table, and everyone else is kind of scattered around, yeah, they are crappy friends. And here's the point. This was right before Christmas, like 3 days before Christmas. I think we got back on the 22nd from this place. And I was supposed to spend Christmas with that group, but I ditched them for Christmas. I was like, fuck you guys. I'm not hanging out with you for Christmas. I'm gonna go with my other friends that are actually like my like genuine friends, because this trip that I went on was like super last minute, and I didn't actually know most of the people really well. I know like 2 or 3 of them. The rest were like, but at the end of the day, I guess it's like, look, I can't get mad at them because they didn't like preemptively agree to pay. I just know I'm the kind of person that like if the roles were reversed, I would recognize like that someone like paid the money and that it's not free, and like I would do my best. Even if it was just a chip in a few bucks, right? Like 20 bucks, 40 bucks. You know, maybe I don't want to have 100 bucks. That's fine. I would pitch in what I could and just recognize, or at least thank me that, hey, like, thanks for doing this. Like, sorry, I can't pay, whatever. I didn't even get that from most of them. I didn't even get a thank you or like a whatever. And so that's the frustrating part. But yeah, they are shitty friends for doing that. And that's why they're not my friends anymore. Like, I haven't talked to any of them since that day. So. But yeah. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, it was my choice. And yeah, like, it's 1,200 bucks. Guys, and as Speezy said, I've had times where I've like done that in a single like night. Like, I think at LVO last year, I lost $1,000 US in a night gambling, playing poker. And was it worth it? Probably not, but I had fun, and like, I don't regret it. I'm just like, I made those choices. But yeah, it sucks. Is any of you guys going to LVO? Anyone in the audience? Is that this weekend, LVO? Or tomorrow? Or is that next week? Definitely, James. Like, I've painted some Marvel Crisis Protocol for some commissions. The problem for me is like, I'm just not playing a lot right now in general. And I don't know, there's something about like, I think I've always been more of like a hobbyist. And so like, I don't have a I don't know, maybe this will come out wrong, but like, the friends that I have that I play with regularly, I generally like to play quite competitively with. And I don't know, like, I don't know much about Marvel Crisis Protocol. I know a lot of my friends or people in my Warhammer groups are picking it up. And I have painted some of it. It's pretty cool. I've never been like, don't get me wrong, I like watch all the Marvel movies, but I've never been super interested. Like, I don't know, I have a weird relationship with like the Marvel like comic universe, I guess. Like, I enjoy the movies and stuff, and I used to collect like X-Men cards when I was a kid and watch like the X-Men show, which I'm actually really glad is coming back. But the X-Men cartoon animated series. I don't know if you guys know that, but they announced that it's gonna be coming back, which I'm super excited for. That was like the best opening theme song ever of any show. Anyways, so I'm excited for that to come back, but I don't know, there's something about like superheroes as like a thing that I am interested in from like a collectible standpoint that I don't love. I've always been more of like a swords and sorcery fantasy kind of guy, less of a like mutant special powers and like comic book style. Like I'd much rather play like fantasy swords and sorcery. That's always been way more my like, I guess, my jam, than has that kind of like, I guess, Marvel universe stuff. Yeah, I have like, look, right now what I'm focused on from like a hobby perspective is like just really small projects, and like I still have my Cursed City I want to finish up that set and play. I've still never played it. I want to finish up like a few just like cool models that I bought here and there. I want to maybe do a few busts. I was looking at actually ordering 3D printing some, or ordering some 3D prints of like some, because I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14. So I was thinking of maybe getting some like 3D prints of like some Final Fantasy characters like Tifa or like Yuna, or like, I don't know, from the games, just to like paint. That'd be fun. I really enjoyed painting my Ciri bust for from Witcher. See it behind me? It's right there. Ciri bust. That was really fun to paint. So some larger scale projects I want to do. Yeah, that's kind of my goal right now. No. Let's see what's going on with this. I think they're just about dry. All right, they're all dry, so we're gonna move on to the next step. A little dry brush. All right, let's see here. Yeah, that would be fun, or like kind of cell shaded. But man, I already paint comic book style. That's what people say about my painting style. Like I already paint very like high contrast comic book style. I think it'd be fun to do some stuff like kind of almost like cell shaded. I don't know if that makes sense. Is that what you mean when you say comic book style? Yeah, Borderlands. There's a guy that LVO last year that had like a whole Borderlands army. He was actually really mad at me because I don't know if he was like just like a douchebag dude, but I won the LVO. I won the ITC hobby track last year, and like the guy that had this Borderlands army, I think he was like second place or something, and he was like, I think he saw my army for the first time in person at LVO, and he was like pissed that like I was gonna win the hobby track because he didn't like the style of my army, and it was like super sour and like kind of a bad, like, I don't know, like as an artist I appreciate other people's work, and I'm like, that's really cool, like good for you, like I'm very like supportive of like other painters and stuff. So to have this guy who like just felt like I maybe didn't deserve it because he thought his army was better, to like come up to me and basically tell me that, I thought was like just like a low class move. And then he was just like all bitter and like salty that like I won the hobby track. I don't know, kind of annoying to be honest. But yeah, he had a Borderlands style army. I don't know who it was, I can't remember the guy's name. I kind of tried to forget him, but he was a bit of an asshole. So but yeah, I've thought about doing some like Borderlands style painting, or like that cell shaded, that almost like Dragon Ball Z style. That makes sense. Does anyone watch the new Dragon Ball Zs? I haven't like really watched. I guess, I don't know, in my head I'm like it's not canon, but I guess it is canon now. But I used to love watching Dragon Ball Z as a kid. And I know there's like the new I don't know, what is it called, like Super, it's called like Dragon Ball Super, I think. And I think I watched a little bit of it, but I was curious if anyone's been watching it, and if like, yeah, there's a new Dragon Ball that's like supposed to be canon. It's not like, I think Dragon Ball GT was like kind of that weird bastardized Dragon Ball, and like I think that was like decanonized, but this new Dragon Ball Super, it's like current canon, I guess, and it's like animated. I don't know, it's just the problem with Dragon Ball is it's so repetitive, right? It's like new evil bad guy comes, beats up all the good guys go either train or like discover some new technique or like heal and become stronger, come back, beat the bad guy because they like care about each other and they trust in family and they love and they use their anger, and then the whole thing repeats itself. That's basically like the plot of every Dragon Ball like arc, right? Like, is there ever an arc? And then Vegeta somehow is good, but he has a lapse in judgment and he becomes temporarily evil. See, I haven't even seen it, but I know this is what probably happens. He becomes temporarily evil for power, so he can beat Goku, and then it ends up not like, he ends up slightly being better for a bit, and then gets beaten in the end and kind of sees the error of his ways and comes back, and everyone lives on. And like, kind of, that's kind of the thing. That's kind of like the arc, right? I haven't watched, someone recommended Cowboy Bebop. Like, I watched like half of the live action on Netflix, and it was fucking awful, and I turned it off. But I haven't seen Cowboy Bebop. Someone said I should watch Cowboy Bebop. I need to just start watching more anime in general, because like I feel like there's a lot of really good ones that I haven't seen. I haven't watched it in so long. If you guys can recommend any that are like good storylines, like obviously after watching Arcane, I was like, I really like, made me kind of want to watch more. And I know Arcane's not technically anime because it's not Japanese, but you get what I'm saying. Like, just really nice, really good, high quality animated shows with like really good characters and like really good like themes and stuff. Because sometimes I find they're a bit too, and I don't want shit like fucking set in a high school where all the girls are fucking, 14 with gigantic titties, and like it's basically one like plot line away from turning into a tentacle porn hentai, right? Because that's what usually those shows are like. I have not seen Berserk. I've heard of it because I've heard of the author that died, right? Like he had like, it was like a super long running it was a manga, right? And the author just died recently, like last year. Yeah, that's true. I've seen my fair share of hentai, but like, I don't know. When I was younger, I used to love that shit. In my exploratory teen years as a internet dude. Did you guys hear the story about the Tifa Lockhart porn video that the Italian Senate had to like watch? That was so funny. What's that? Berserk? Okay, I'll check it out. Fire Force, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer. Yeah, Demon Slayer I've heard really good things about as well. Now, are these like Japanese with English subs, or are these like Japanese? Are these like English dubs or English subs? Because I don't know. There's something about, as much as I love like authentic Japanese ones with like English subs, I usually like to watch while I do other stuff, and so like if it's subbed, I have to sit there and like not keep watching, otherwise I can't. It's like, for me, a lot of times when I watch shows, like I watch it on my second monitor, and it's more like an audiobook where I kind of listen to it and I kind of glance up every once in a while I'm painting. So ideally something that is dubbed, so I don't have to like keep reading. The anime about Vikings. Okay, that sounds cool. I'm gonna go back to this chat later and write these down. Also, like, because like, for instance, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, I tried watching that, but I just like, I don't know, I know a lot of people just said really good things about it, but like I couldn't get past, like, it just seemed a little bit too kiddie for me. And I know a lot of people say like it does have some adult themes and stuff, but it just seemed a little bit too kiddie for me, and I couldn't really get past like the first season. That was like the last, like my last attempt at watching like an anime. And I know a lot of people, yeah, it is a kids show, I guess. I'm looking for something that's like a bit more like mature, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like super crazy, but mature, but just something that's a bit more mature, I guess. Yeah, but that's not, I mean, like, I don't know. This is just really why I really liked Arcane, because it was like, the art style was amazing, the character development was amazing, the themes were really adult, and like it was like just graphic enough, and like there was like consequences, right? Like people die, right? Like things actually like happen. It's not just like oh, you know, everyone gets, it's like, you know, the GI Joe where like the guys always parachute out, right? Like I don't want to show like that where everyone makes it through every week and like there's no consequences or like outcomes. I want shows where like things like have consequences and like characters die and like shit like that, you know? Not that I'm like I want everyone to die, but I wanted to feel like there's stakes when I watch these shows. Arcane felt like that, right? A lot of these anime shows, you're like, okay, they're in danger, but like obviously no one's gonna die, so like you don't get that emotional like intensity, I guess, of a show that like compared to a show where like there's real stakes and stuff. I'm a human. I take that offense to that, Jess. That's not actually. Oh, I thought you said. I thought I read it. I thought what you read, I said is it's good to watch those kids shows to feel human every now and again. Not because I think I get slightly dyslexic, and I was like, what do you mean? I do feel human. Although to be fair, I'm probably inhuman. I kind of switched entire sentences because I just skimmed it. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Okay, I'll check that out for sure. Where do I have to like download these shows? Like, are they on any streaming services, or do I have to go to the dark web and get them? Not that I have any like apprehension about that. I'm just wondering what the best place to get them. Any of them are like streaming, obviously. Yeah, fuck Hulu. I don't even think we get Hulu in Canada, or if we do, it's like bitch Hulu. I'm not paying Hulu. I'll definitely download. Anything on Hulu is getting downloaded for sure. I have Netflix and I have Amazon Prime. That's it. I refuse to pay a third streamer. I have enough content between those two on YouTube. I feel like the whole thing with streaming was like we were gonna get like one thing that, or I could go get everything, and now it's basically like cable again, where instead of now just having like cable with like 6 packages, I just have 6 streaming packages, 6 streaming services. Yeah, I got a VPN. Vinland is on Netflix, but depends on your country. That's the only other thing I have, yeah. I actually found that playing Final Fantasy 14 on VPN is a lot better than playing without, because for some reason, like the route that my ISP takes to get to the servers for Final Fantasy is like really weird, and it's like pingy, it's like really high ping. But when I play, so I'm in Vancouver, Canada, but like when I play with the VPN in Seattle, my ping goes from like 120 to like 18. So it's like way more responsive. It's almost like it goes direct through the VPN, whereas like with my ISP, it's like it goes to like Toronto first and like goes through 17 other, it just routes really weird. All right, so that's done. Dry brushing done. Now we should paint some plates. So for the armor plates on these, what I use is Practical Transparent Black with a little bit of water. And what this does is it because I did these all in metal and then I go over the transparent black, you kind of get a bit of the metal like showing through, but it's not a lot, but it's just enough to kind of give the like the armor still is black, but it like almost is like a very, very dark kind of, you get a little bit of that metallic sheen like really like deep underneath it. And so it just helps sell the fact that it's not like just like painted black, but it's actually like kind of black metal almost. I don't know if that makes sense. And usually it takes about like 2 coats. Anyways, okay, thanks for those recommendations, guys. I'll definitely check this out. I just watched what did I just finish? I just finished Yellowstone. I finally caught up on it. Like I'm all caught up on like the 4th season, and I don't know if I liked it or not, but I kind of just binged it over the last like week or so. It was all right. There's a little too much violence for like a cowboy show, I guess, from my perspective. But enough differs for you guys. There. Black. Yeah. I think I'm gonna watch maybe I'll start listening. Oh no, I can't listen to audiobooks. Actually, I guess I could listen to audiobooks. I'll start listening to those next. Audiobooks are good for painting, but when I'm playing games, they're not good. Because you need something to yeah. I was like, man, if people get shot this often in freaking in the States, this seems crazy to me. People are just getting not only are people getting shot, but like there's just so many like random, like so much random violence. Also, like I don't even like ranching and cowboys and shit. I don't know why I watch so much of it. I don't know. I like Kevin Costner. Dances with Wolves, baby. So maybe that's why I watched it. But actually, it's actually crazy. One of the girls in the show, I actually know her. She's from Vancouver. Her name's Tanea Beatty. I actually hung out with her a few times, like many years ago before she was an actor. And I was like watching the show, and like I was like, whoa, like she came on, and I was like, whoa, that's yeah. It was really like bizarre because like I haven't really like I'm not like friends with her now, but like I just like hung out with her a few times through some mutuals, and so I know her from that. But I was like, it was really weird watching the show and having her pop up. Always weird. Although I guess I live in Vancouver. There's like a lot of people here that I know that are actors and stuff, just because of we do a lot of film in Vancouver. So it's not that crazy. See. My mind. But Mr. Brooks with Costner is one of my favorite movies. Which one's Mr. Brooks? I honestly, I know people, I don't know if people make fun of this. I freaking love Waterworld. I know a lot of people hate it on Waterworld and think it, and I know it's like critically like a bomb, but like Waterworld is actually one of my favorite movies. Like I just love the idea of it. I love the sets. I love the like whole storyline of like, you know, it was one of those movies that I wish there was a sequel. And I don't know, there's something about Waterworld that I just really enjoyed. I know a lot of people like didn't like Waterworld, but I think it's a freaking cool movie. Also loved The Postman. A lot of people don't like The Postman. I really love The Postman. Again, same thing, like that kind of just, I don't know, there's something about like dystopian kind of those kind of dystopian books where it's like the earth, but it's like we're fucked, where there's like, I don't know, there's something I really enjoyed about The Postman. Yeah, like it's neither of these Waterworld is not like a, you know, it's not a art piece classic, but it's just it's a really fun movie with like great action sequences and like a cool story, you know. And it's like, fuck, we're gonna be in Waterworld in like 20 years. What do you mean you guys don't like The Postman? I love The Postman. Get out of here. I'm not trolling. I do enjoy The Postman. I'm gonna actually rewatch The Postman just so that I can make sure it's what I remember. I'm not trolling, man. Come on, give me a bit of a break. How dare you accuse me of trolling? Besmirch my honor like that, Corbs. I would never lie to you guys. No, I enjoyed The Postman. What other Kevin Costner movies? Obviously, Dancing with Wolves is like classic. Obviously, is he in Tombstone? What's the Western that he's in? Is it Tombstone? Or is it like Wyatt Earp or something? That one's good. I forget. I always get him confused. Tombstone is with Val Kilmer, right? Wyatt Earp is with Kevin Costner. I get them mixed up sometimes. You guys remember? I feel like it was Wyatt Earp. And I'm not a huge like Western guy. No. Oh, The Postman? Yeah, I think that's so cool. And like, also there's something about like, I don't know. Okay, so I always had this like weird fascination with like opening other people's mail. I know that sounds awful, but like, don't you ever like look at like all the packages that are like going through, or like I remember always like getting deliveries and like looking at the back of like the UPS truck, and I was always like so curious. Like I'm like, I wonder what's in all those boxes. Like I wonder if there's good stuff. Like maybe it's just like shitty things, but like I wonder like what kind of cool things are in these boxes. And so there's something to me about like this dude stumbling upon like a freaking US mail truck full of like all these cool boxes of like mystery items, and like I don't know, it's just like something cool about that. I don't know, maybe that makes you weirdo. Like, wouldn't it be cool? A fun thing would be like go to the UPS depot, pick a UPS truck, and get to open all the boxes. It'd be like Christmas. I would enjoy it, I think. Oh, Jingle All the Way is a fucking amazing, man. That's for me is like top 3 best Arnold movies. T2 being one, Jingle All the Way, Kindergarten Cop's up there. Yeah, Jingle All the Way is freaking hilarious, man. That is like for me like top. That's like S tier holiday movie is Jingle All the Way. Yeah, I saw that Amazon train shit. Is that real? That didn't seem real to me. Okay, copy. Yeah, Kindergarten Cop. It's not a Tuma. I'm gonna copy you that. Dude, I remember. I don't know if you guys are, or if I'm too old for this, but one of the cool things that was on the internet back in like early 2000s was like the Arnold like kindergarten cop soundboard, and you used to prank your friends. You could prank your friends with like the soundboard from Kindergarten Cop and like a few other Arnold quotes in there, and you could just like click on buttons. They'd like pick up. They'd be like hello, and it'd be like I'm a cop, you idiot. Like it would be like Arnold soundboard prank calls, and then there'd be people that would like post clips of people pranking them with the Arnold soundboard. I don't. Am I getting too old? Am I like too old for this? Does anyone do that kind of shit or remember that shit? But that shit was hilarious, man. This probably still exists. And I remember like the actual like soundboard website. It was like made with like the most like broke ass JavaScript, like whatever web tech was existent in like 2003. Like the website itself was like so poorly. It was just like a bunch of like pink squares, like blue writing. Like it was just very poorly like yeah, and I don't even think you could call from the thing. Like you had to hold your phone up to the speakers or something like that. Yeah, those were the days, man. I'm 37, man, so I definitely did that shit too. That shit was fucking tight, man. And there's the one about the guy that kicked his dog. Do you guys remember the you kicked my dog one? It was like the East Indian guy. I don't know if anyone remembers that one. Man, the internet was a crazy place back in the early 2000s. It's crazy to think about it. Like, we take for granted, but like, wasn't like YouTube invented in like 2011 or 13? Like, it's like so new. I remember like, I remember the first time like I knew about the internet. I think I was like 7 or 8, and my dad, who worked in IT at the time, he worked for the government, and so like they had obviously the internet at the government, right? And I remember him taking me to his office with like my stepmom and my sister, and he showed me like Yahoo. Yeah, you're the man now, dog. Of course I remember that. He showed me like Yahoo, like circa 1997 Yahoo. It was like purple writing with like, and it was just like basically like a bulletin board. It was before 97. It was probably like 94 or 95. Yeah, there's like so much funny things like College Humor. Remember those like Java games you used to play like in browser because no one had actually gaming computers, like the Snowball game, or like it was like spaceships, fire on a spaceship. We used to have this game we played in high school. It was like a web-based like it was like you played like a lot of web-based, remember like the web-based Java games that you could play like against your classmates on the school computers, because like it wasn't actually installing anything, so you could play like these certain, I don't remember what the games were called, but like games where you'd like be flying ships around and like you could shoot each other, and you just play them in computer class because they're the only games that like actually worked. Those are the days. Or remember like the original was it even YouTube at that point? You remember watching Pure Pwned, the like that like web series, and like I think so, like the yeah, there's that whole series back in the day where it's like the computer nerds that like turned into like FPS Doug and shit. Hey Devin, what's going on, man? We're just all aging ourselves with old computer games and shit. Reminiscing, you know, about yeah, FPS Doug, man. James knows what's up. I used to love that shit. That was like back in my EverQuest days, because like when I was playing like EverQuest 2, so it would have been, how old was I when I started playing EverQuest? I think I was probably like 16 or something. What year did World of Warcraft come out? Hey Siri, when did EverQuest 2 come out? She's not gonna get it.
Okay. It's on the web. EverQuest check it out.
I don't know if it's like I'm just like bad at freaking English, but like every time I say anything to Suri, it never understands what the fuck I'm saying. Let's see here. Daybreak. Oh yeah, so I forgot that Daybreak used to be Sony SOE. Fuck SOE. EverQuest 2. Let's see. So EverQuest 2 came out in 2000. Holy shit. EverQuest 2 came out in 2004. Which is like when the era that I'm talking about, because that was probably like my like golden years of like internet, living on the internet. It was like 2004. So like long before MySpace and YouTube and all that shit. Oh dude, so like I'm not an FPS guy, Speezy. Like I never really got, I just never really had the patience or like the time to play FPS a lot. But my peak FPS skills was Unreal Tournament. Like that game, especially online, that was the time in my life where I was actually good at first person shooters, because I used to play so much fucking Unreal Tournament online. And like after that, like it just all went downhill, because I started playing like I was a keyboard turner in MMOs and shit, and it all went downhill. But like Unreal Tournament was like my one FPS that I was ever good at. Like yeah, I think it was, I don't know if it was the original, I think it was like Unreal Tournament 2000 or 2004, something like that. It was probably 2004, but that was like one of the few times that I was actually good at first person shooters, because for the rest of my life, like I can still play them, like I still play and beat like I don't know, what was a recent first person shooter that like I guess Cyberpunk's basically first person shooter in a way, not really though. I beat Cyberpunk, and I played a samurai, like I used a katana the entire game. I barely even shot a gun the entire game. It's not really a first person shooter. But what's some other recent first person shooters that are like more story driven? I'm trying to think. There's definitely some that I've played where are more story driven, and I'm like fine at them. I can beat them on like, and even like Mass Effect, or Mass Effect is like barely a first person shooter. It doesn't really have like the intense. Obviously Half-Life 2 I played, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, but none of those were like particularly hard first person shooters. I was never big into playing online, although I did play a lot of the Mass Effect 3 online multiplayer. If you guys remember that, when Mass Effect 3 came out, they had like the online mode. I did play a lot of that. Black Mesa, yeah. I don't know what it is. I think it's like, for me, first person shooters essentially are giant jump scare games, because like you're going around and people fucking pop out at you and kill you. They're like giant jump scares, and I hate jump scares. I hate it when shit jumps at me. I'm like jumpy. And so like when I'm playing first person shooters and people like pop out of corners or pop out of this or pop out of wherever, I'm like like I literally like freak out. I can't not like totally lose my shit. And I think that's the reason or like I get super hype on adrenaline when I'm playing them to like kill people, and that like leads me to like I can't play them in a calm and cool manner. I get just like super hyped up, and like I get this adrenaline, and then like I can't play them in a calm way, right? Like I'm too on edge from like the jump scares and people jumping out at me and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. From being a weirdo, but yeah, giant jump scare games basically. What's going on here? Someone actually posted recently on Twitter, like last week, it was, or a few days ago, it was like, age yourself with a video game. And like I was like thinking, I was like, what were the first video games that I ever played? And it was like all DOS games, right? Like I used to play Prince of Persia and DOS, the original. Commander Keen, I don't know if you guys remember that. I used to play Moraf's World and like a lot of like games like that where they were like fully text based, or like bit based. Yeah, I think it comes out on Saturday. Or sorry, it goes on pre-order this Saturday, which means the embargo will be lifted. Which means like Friday night at midnight we'll have all the like reviews and shit. So it'll be out the following weekend. I'll check it out for sure. Although to be fair, I'll just probably download it, the PDF. Because I don't buy paper books anymore. King's Quest, yeah. Those are good ones. Myst, do you guys remember playing the original Myst? It was like one of the first games on CD. That game was freaking hard, man. As like an 11-year-old, that game was so hard. I remember playing that and I was just like, man, like because there's no spoilers, there's no websites. Yeah, I had the original CD of Myst. There's no like there's no websites you can go to. There's no YouTube where I can watch a spoiler walkthrough, right? Like there's literally nothing, and that game literally tells you nothing. I remember playing that, going over to my friend's house. He had a Voodoo FX card, which was, so he was like the kid on the block with the 3D accelerator. Good night, Roastic. Thanks for joining tonight, man. I appreciate it. So we used to go to his house and play Myst together, and we'd have to put like all three of our brains together, just to like figure out like just the most basic shit, because it was such a hard game, and the game told you nothing. Yeah, Myst was good. I think I tried to replay it. Like they came with like a remastered version recently, and I think I tried to play it, and I was like, it's still so hard. Like I have no idea what to do, and I'm like 20 years older, or like 25 years older than I was. It was that much more life experience and video game knowledge. That's awesome, Speezy. I see. Look, we were poor growing up. I never had like consoles. My first console that I ever got was a Sega Genesis. My first and last console that I ever got, besides my PlayStation 5 that I now own, was my Sega Genesis in 1994. And I had a Game Boy, old Game Boy as well, which my mom bought me in 1989. I remember getting it, and it sounds like forever ago, but that's literally the year I got it. She bought me a Game Boy. I think it came out in 89 or 1990. It was 89 or 90. She got it for me. Those are the only two like game systems that I ever owned growing up. And then I used to just go to my friend's house to play. Like my friends got like an NES and they had N64s and stuff. So I used to just go over to their house and play. What's the Orc AOR? Oh, Army of Renown? Is that in the new Vigilus book? Like in the Nachmund, whatever, blah, blah, blah? Or what is that in? What are the rules for that, Wired Current? I forgot this is supposed to be like a Warhammer channel. Yeah, so I owned a Sega Genesis, and then I got a PC. So the thing is, I got a PC when I was, like, I've always had PCs, so I was always more of a PC guy. And my mom bought us a PC, a Pentium 100. I think I want to say in like 94. And I remember getting Command & Conquer Red Alert on it. And even though I was always loved PC gaming, Command & Conquer Red Alert was like the game that like turned me into a PC gaming fiend. And like that really set me over the edge. Like I quit sports. I would skip school to come home and play it. And that just led to like, I think I basically stayed inside an entire summer playing Command & Conquer Red Alert. That game was amazing. The full voice acted the live movie, what are they called? It's like the live like videos, like basically for like the game. I don't know, there's a abbreviation for them. And it was like yeah, I played like I briefly dabbled in Warcraft, but I was in a World of Warcraft came out like a month after EverQuest 2, and I was an EverQuest guy, so I ended up playing mostly EverQuest. After I quit EverQuest, I gave World of Warcraft a shot a few times, but I never could get into it. I've been playing lots of Final Fantasy 14 though. That's like the new MMO that I'm addicted to. I haven't been this addicted to an MMO since EverQuest. But the nice thing about Final Fantasy though is like the time investment is like so much less. Like you're so much more productive when you play, and it's something that like I wasn't prepared for. Full motion video, that's what it is. Yeah, full motion video. Yeah, I used to have Wolfenstein 3D and like things like Doom and Doom 2 on like floppy disks and stuff. But I was gonna say, like, the thing with Final Fantasy 14 is like I can log in, do like my daily like whatever in like 20-30 minutes and log out, and then I don't log in. I log in once a week for like a few hours just to do some raiding with my group. But like other than that, unless I want to like level every class, there's really like it's really minimal. Once you're at like max level, it's like it's not like a weekly grind, and but there's lots to do, but nothing is necessary and feels like, oh, I have to go like grind rep, or like I have to go like do my 30 dailies or whatever, or run instances 30,000 times. Like you have everything is like very like time gated. So like for instance, we're my static group, which is essentially like our like raid group, is clearing the extreme raids right now. And once you clear it once a week, you can only do it once a week, and then like there's not much else to do, right? So like we clear it in like 45 minutes and then I'm done for the week, unless we're doing like progression on a new raid. So it's like very much like, you know, it's very like it's like a small amount of time investment. Even though I've been playing a fuck ton, it's not a lot of time investment. All right, guys, it's been a slice. Got lots of work done on the orcs. Hopefully finish these up tomorrow, and then a few more small things, and then we're all done with it. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Thanks so much for hanging out. I had a fun time chatting nostalgia, old video games, that kind of stuff with you guys. I will be back tomorrow. I might have a surprise guest on tomorrow. I'm still finalizing details. I know some of you guys have been wondering, like, am I ever gonna have guests on and do the podcast again? But honestly, the nice thing about just hanging out with you guys is I can just focus on painting, and I don't have to produce content. So but yeah, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna go grab some dinner and do some more painting probably once I'm done. Maybe do some gaming as well. But I appreciate it. Have a great night, and I will talk to you guys later.